Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. Welcome to another Snap Judgment review. What is a Snap Judgment review if you've never listened before? Well, I think game reviewers nowadays get really caught up with 100%ing a game or near completing it before they do their review. That ends up making them forget what it's like to just play it right away, right when they started. So with that said, I do about 5 to 10 hours with each game I review. I'm trying to give you an idea whether you're going to enjoy it right away or not. And because of that, and the fact that I think gaming is one of the most subjective forms of art, I won't give a score to the review. Instead, I will be telling you overall what the game is. Then I'll be listing the pros and the cons of the game in my point of view. And then I'll be telling you whether or not I'm sticking with this game outside the purposes of this content. So, today I am reviewing Where Winds Meet. So, this game is really interesting and very hard for me to review, honestly, especially with only 6 hours in that I have, because it's one of these, I don't know, we'll get into it in a second, but the main crux of the game is that it is free to play, but it is a little bit more story based. There's plenty of co-op elements, but you can play the thing completely alone. In fact, there's an entire mode where you just play by yourself. And it's not less of a thing, at least not yet. That I haven't found anything that requires me to have other people other than the PvP stuff. That being said, it is old school wuxia Chinese kind of mythology open world game. You end up playing this character who's kind of like an orphan who's been raised by a series of people and wants to go out and do adventuring in, the ancient kind of like fantasy China. And you learn a lot of martial arts along the way. It's very open world, and you meet a lot of interesting characters, do a lot of interesting things. It's hard to really define this game because this is a game that definitely, I don't know what it is about these regions, like China and Korea, like Hoyoverse games and NetEase and stuff like that. These games that come out that just, they want to be everything. And so that's kind of like this game. You can pick flowers, you can cook, you can do martial arts fights, you can do story stuff, you can do archery, you can do wrestling matches against other players, versus matches against other players, boss raids, exploration, puzzles. Like, it just has everything in it. So it's interesting because we're actually going to talk about that a little bit in the cons because it's almost overwhelming. What is interesting, trying to get back to it though, as far as story goes, your character is, you're trying to kind of like learn your martial arts, become a better hero or adventurer, and then kind of set out on a quest. I'm going to assume, because I feel like I'm still in the prologue 6 hours in, especially with all the things that just keep distracting me. But you end up learning different weapons and different weapon styles. The other thing that's really interesting about the character creation is they have what's called smart character creation, which allows you to basically either record a piece of audio in your own voice or upload a custom picture, and then it creates a character using AI based on those things, which I found really interesting and kind of cool. Also frightening. Because it gets access to your camera and your microphone, but really interesting and kind of cool. I found myself really having fun experimenting with that. I was actually bummed that you can't make a second character just to play with that, but once you progress through the storyline enough, you can actually change your face whenever you want, so you can go in and kind of experiment with it and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's kind of the game. I know that really doesn't define it. Hopefully you're seeing the captures that I have, and kind of helping you out. Another interesting thing about this is, there's a million currencies, like every game of the region. Naraka Blade Point and Genshin Impact and all those types of games, just thousands of currencies. This is no different. It's hard to even manage that. But almost every one of the NPCs is also an AI chatbot, which is also both concerning and fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous to participate in any of this, but I ended up having a conversation with one character who was like a freestyle poet, and it was a really rewarding, interesting conversation. At the same time, it is concerning. Like, you as a person could go into this game and just have an entire friend group with people who aren't real, which is just very concerning and weird to me. Also, there's some of the time the AI chatbots, I don't know if they're not perfectly programmed or whatever, but they will make references that don't make sense and take you right out of the world. The first one I talked to made a Bill Gates reference, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure Bill Gates wasn't around in 9th century China. Not sure about that, but that takes you out of the conversation right away, and is a little frustrating, I guess, when you're trying to kind of role play with the characters. But other than that, the martial arts is kind of full display here. The learning martial arts and learning the techniques is very interesting. You have to kind of like quest for them almost as much as you quest for like gold and loot and stuff. And there are tons of different weapons to master and learn. Right now, you'll see that I enjoy the fan the most. I think that's very interesting. And there's also like a rope and dart that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what that looks like. An umbrella, but there's also your more standard stuff. I also use a spear as my second one. You can use a sword, dual blades, stuff like that. So yeah, it's an interesting game. Very, very tough to actually kind of like review it here. Not gonna lie. As you can see, that I'm having trouble with it. So I think the best way to do this is let's just get into the pros and the cons that I've noticed from this game already. The first thing I'm going to say is combat. Combat is great. It really is great. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of cons that I found very frustrating. And the reason that I am willing to kind of like overlook those is 100% the combat. The combat reminds me of Naraka Blade Point merged with Sifu. And I am a huge third-person beat-em-up guy, just a third-person fighting game guy, just as much as I am a 2D brawler guy. Like, I love that kind of stuff in video games, especially when it's done well. One of my all-time favorite games, as everybody out there knows, is Sifu. And this definitely gave me memories of that. It also gave me memories of Warframe, if you can believe it. The moving around the map, the kind of like quick ease of jumping around and climbing stuff just made me very... the quick speed made me kind of feel Warframe-ish. It's one thing about this game, and I know we're in the pros, and I'm kind of digressing, but this game is hard not to. This game is digression in a whole, but that's one thing about this game is I feel like they tried to take something from everything that they thought was good and put it in here. Like, the movement of Warframe, the open world of, like, a Legend of Zelda, the combat of maybe a Sifu or a Naraka Blade Point, the storyline of maybe like I don't want to say it's good as God of War, but something along those lines, like full CG. The AI chatbots of talking to people. It's kind of weird that just like it's all thrown into a pot, and somehow it kind of works a little bit on a very interesting level. So let's continue with the pros. Next thing I really enjoyed was a playback speed for the cutscenes. The cutscenes are huge. I don't want to mitigate this, but I'm 6 hours in and I have done a lot of cutscene watching. I would argue almost too much, with the exception of the fact that I enjoy the fact that it's kind of building a storyline in what seems to be kind of engineered towards a multiplayer experience. But they add a playback speed. You can hit the RB button. You can go as fast as 3 times speed through the cutscenes. I really enjoy just putting it at 1.25 and just making the cutscenes a little bit faster. I can still listen to them. They don't sound distorted like that, anything like that, but it moves me through it a little bit faster to the game. I really enjoy that. I think as weird as it is, this is one of the more more inventive features that this game has offered that I think other games should kind of get on the page with. The playback speed in a cutscene is great, especially for cutscene heavy games. And then the graphics are absolutely beautiful. I will say I've noticed some pop-in. I am running this on hardware that is not the max recommended or whatever. It's only the required. It's a little bit above the required, but it's beautiful. Other than that pop-in, it's beautiful. The game looks beautiful. It's pretty. The combat is flowing. It works. I didn't notice any lags or glitches when it came to the very precise timing required to do the fights, which, again, and I don't think I've talked about the combat enough. There's also elements of Dark Souls in it. You're trying to kind of whittle down opponents' stamina while they're trying to whittle down yours so that you can get a big finisher in. And you do that by deflecting, dodging, and blocking. All of these things need absolute precise timing, and this game works with that. I have had no problems with that, no complaints with that, no extreme amounts of lag. And for how pretty it is, and just the settings that I saw when I was downloading it, I was a little bit concerned. But it works great. It works really good. So let's get into the cons, okay?
Check. This is Zach. I would like this to be my recording.
This is gonna be a little bit hard
mic is gonna work.
because
find out though. So yeah,
it's gonna be one of those where it sounds negative, but it's not. So I'm gonna go with the smaller ones first. One thing I didn't like is the cutscenes don't use the weapon that you're using. Like, I've almost never used a sword in the game, but the cutscenes keep having me with a sword in them. I only use a fan and a spear. I don't even think I have a sword, so like it takes you out of the fiction a little bit. I mean, it's a minor thing. I do want to get into the other stuff. First of all, the confusion. This game throws so much at you so fast, so many mechanics, so much stuff that it is more than a little confusing. The tutorial, I don't know that the tutorial really does it justice, I guess. Like, it taught me how to use the buttons okay, but, like, the amount of mechanics that this game throws at you in the first 6 hours is insane, and I don't even think I found them all. I haven't even touched the multiplayer, the pure multiplayer stuff, where you can, like, have wrestling matches with people, you can just straight up duel people. That a lot of that's also locked behind, like, higher player levels that you have to get to, which is fine. I think that's good, put them all on the same level, but it's nuts how much that this game hits you with, like, martial arts and masteries and mystic arts and all sorts of stuff. And it is very hard to keep up with it, which is what brings me to my next, and without a doubt, my largest problem with this game, and that is notifications. Listen, guys, this might just be me, but I am minorly OCD when it comes to notifications in video games. I'm a little bit crazy about them. To the point where I have to resolve all those notifications before we get into the game. I don't know, and this is a stable of, like I said, games that come out of this region. The Hoyoverse games, the Naraka Blade Point was like this, a lot of games like this. There are so many things to service on the back end. There are battle passes and event passes and in-game passes and in-game quest missions and side missions and achievement missions, and it just goes, the list goes on and on and on and on. You get rewards for collecting cosmetics. It is hyper frustrating. I think one time I logged in to play this game. I was excited to play this game, and it took me the first 30 minutes of play to just find and resolve all the notifications, only to then play for 5 minutes and get 3 more notifications because I did anything in the game. This drives me nuts. I don't know if this is going to drive you guys nuts. Maybe you are people who can just play, don't worry about the notifications until you do, but I can't. It drives me nuts. And like, if you are a person that is bothered by notifications, this game has menus inside menus inside menus. I'm not going to lie. Some of the notifications, to resolve them, I had to like find them, and I had a hard time finding them because they were so deep into back menus. I don't love that. And just so you guys know, by notifications, I mean little notification markers, like little red, in this game, the little red dots on things that lets you know, oh, hey, you've got something in here to resolve, a reward of some sort. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts in games, and this game is just littered with them. It is weird how good this game can be, how much it is brought down by mobile bullshit. It's such a hard juxtaposition. I would expect this game if I was playing like Cookie Run Kingdom on my phone, but I'm not. I'm playing this like very clearly AAA style RPG on my gaming PC that can barely handle it, and I'm getting notifications like I'm playing, Kingdom Crash or something. It's nuts. And it is easily my biggest problem. I wish that we could refine these a little bit more, put them in, like maybe merge up some of those. Also, you end up with all this stuff you don't even know what to do with. And I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. I don't love playing a game when I feel like I know 30% of what's going on with the mechanics, and that's kind of how it is. Like, I love the fighting, I love the story so far, but like all of that stuff, I don't quite understand or know what's happening, and that drives me nuts. So let's get to whether or not I'm going to stick with this game. I think I am. I am really enjoying this, and I do enjoy a game like this every once in a while. Like I said, I've put a lot of hours into Warframe. I plan on doing the same with Soulframe. I like these online experiences that I can keep going back to every so often, especially something like this that gives you story and characters to interact with. Again, the characters to interact with the interaction can sometimes be very strange and jarring, but it's very interesting how they do that. And it is both alarming and exciting to see how close we can get to playing a game feeling like it's actually populated by people without any actual people in it. So I am going to keep playing with it. I think it is interesting. I don't know if it will stay on my list, but yeah. So did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? I'm sure I got it wrong this time. So be gentle in the comments. You guys can let me know in those comments below. You can also contact us on Discord. Links in the description below. And influence all of our shows from there. I do requests as long as I can lay my hands on the game and have the money to. And as far as that is it, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. We'll see you guys next time.